is greater, power is stronger. You are all we need. No height, no depth can separate us. Jesus, have your way in me.
Oh Jesus, you are the way, the truth and the life. You made a way, my Savior. You left heaven's throne, you called me your own. You never let me go.
Oh, this I know, your love is greater, power is stronger. You are all we need. No height, no depth can separate us. Jesus, have your way in me. Have your way, have your way, have your way in me. Have your way, have your way, have your way in me. Your love is greater, power is stronger. You are all we need. No height, no depth can separate us. Jesus, have your way in me. God our Savior, 3 in 1. Holy Spirit, Father and Son. It's by your grace we are redeemed, and now we sing to you, our King. God our Savior, you became flesh, bore our sin that we might be cleansed. It's by your grace we are redeemed, and now we sing to you, our King, to you, Lord. 'Cause there is no one higher, there's no love that's deeper, there's no other name that covers our shame, and there is no power greater, no other world creator, our heart liberator, Jesus our King. You are Jesus our King. You are God our Savior, you became flesh, you bore our sin that we might be cleansed. It's by your grace we are redeemed, and now we sing to you, our King, to you alone. 'Cause there is no one higher, there's no love that's deeper, there's no other name that covers our shame, and there is no power greater, no other world creator, our heart liberator, Jesus our King. You are Jesus our King. You are great are you, Lord. We sing, great are you, Lord.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to From Our Home to Yours. We are Russell and Kristi Johnson, and through our ministry, RK Praise Ministries, we get the wonderful opportunity to travel around the country and sometimes even other parts of the world to be an encouragement to people, to proclaim the hope of Christ, and to help equip churches and families. And so thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time, we're so glad that you're here. We would love for you to subscribe and like our YouTube channel, or like and follow our Facebook page. Also, comment below and let us know you're watching, where you're watching from, and let us know how you're doing. That would be great. As we get started tonight, we just want to tell you that the reason we started this series was because of the COVID-19 pandemic. And this was a way that, since we couldn't get out and travel like we normally do, it was a way that we could stay connected with people and hopefully bring some encouragement into your home or wherever you're watching from tonight. So thank you for tuning in. Let's get started. Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in for this episode of From Our Home to Yours. My name is Russell, and it's my beautiful bride, Kristi, and we're so glad that you tuned in. As you've already heard, we'd love for you to like our Facebook page, or if you're watching on YouTube tonight, we'd love for you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Tonight is a very special night, and today's been a special day because we're celebrating that 26 years ago tonight, we got married.
Wow.
And she's still here. And that's a wonderful thing. But yeah, in fact, not only did we get married 26 years ago tonight, but our first date was exactly 27 years ago tonight. Yes. And so we're going to tonight be celebrating and talking through just kind of our story and share with you a little bit through the years, some funny things, the challenges, and the wow moments. And so we're glad that you tuned in tonight to be a part of this celebration with us. As many of you know, we're worship leaders and speakers, and normally we're getting the opportunity to travel around the country and sometimes even other parts of the world to share the hope of Christ, to encourage people, and to help and equip the church and marriages and families. But this year's been a little different, and that's how From Our Home to Yours came to be. So as we get started tonight, every episode, we love to start off by singing a song of worship or praise together, just to kind of get us ready for maybe what God has to say to us tonight, and just to have a time of worship together. So no matter how you're watching tonight, whether it's on a phone or a computer or iPad or whatever, just join us tonight as we worship together and just thank God for who He is, and that, man, if we just keep our eyes fixed on Him, things are going to not necessarily always be the way we want them to be, but we always have hope when we keep our eyes fixed on Him. So will you join us as we worship tonight, as we sing? It's one of our favorite songs this year, I think. In fact, when we first heard it, we said we've got to put this on our CD, because we were recording a new CD at the time called Abandon. And so this is the last track on the album, Abandon. So if you haven't heard that yet, you can find our CD Abandon anywhere that you listen to music online. But we're going to share this song with you now, and hopefully it's an encouragement to you tonight, wherever you are and however you listen. It's called The Blessing.
The Lord bless you and keep you, make His face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn His face toward you and give you peace. And
children and their children. May his favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, and your family and your children and their children and their children. May his presence go before you and behind you and beside you, all around you and within you. He is with you. He is with you in the morning, in the evening, in your coming and your going, in your weeping and rejoicing. He is for you. 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 Oh, and amen. 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 And amen. Amen. Amen.
I love that song.
I do too.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And man, that was just, we wanted to do that tonight. We were listening, actually heard it on the radio in the car today, the Carrie Job version. You know, they put it out first, and we just fell in love with it from the first time we heard it, and wanted to add that to our album we were working on at the time, Abandoned. And we did it this past Sunday when we were up in Smithfield, North Carolina.
That's right. I love it.
And tonight we just wanted to do it because we just felt like, you know what, we just want to be sing that blessing over you, and just to worship together, just declaring that He is for us, not against us. And as we celebrate tonight, as we talk about our story and what's brought us to this point of 26 years of being married and 27 years of dating and being married, we thought we'd kind of go back and go through kind of just a flashback, kind of share some stories. And like I said a moment ago, we want to share some that are the funny stories, things that have happened along the way, but also we want to share with you some of the hard things, some of the challenges that we faced. And then ultimately, we also want to share with you some of the wow moments, some of the moments that we just went, only God can do that. And so I think it's important for us sometimes to look back and see that, even through the challenges of life, even through the humorous parts of life, and definitely in the wow moments, and through all those seasons and all those situations, that God is there and God is faithful to us. So we're going to start back at the beginning, okay? So we've shared this, or bits and pieces of this along the way as we've done this series. So if you've heard some of it, bear with us. We're going to get to some stuff that I'm sure you haven't heard yet as well. But Kristi and I, we grew up in the same town right here in Conway, South Carolina. We're the traffic jam on the way to Myrtle Beach. If you visit this area, and but we grew up on different sides of town. We both grew up going to church. Our families were really involved in our churches, and we went to the same high school, Conway High School. But we did not date in high school. It's probably she wouldn't have anything to do with me in high school. It could be simply for the simple reason that she was a senior and I was a freshman. But
I told you I keep getting moved
it was
up.
it was just because you're
I
so
was
smart. Yeah, you were excelling, and
Exactly.
anyway. No, she's very intelligent, very smart.
Thank you.
And that's why she picked me for a husband. But we didn't date in high school, but we were in choir together for 1 year, and that's how we kind of met. We had a lot of friends in common, and but we didn't date in high school. Kristi went on to kind of be our little hometown star. If you've ever been to the Myrtle Beach area, you're probably familiar with the Carolina Opry, the Alabama Theater, and you were an original cast member of the Alabama Theater when they first opened. It was part of Opryland USA. She actually went to Nashville to learn the show, and then came back and did that. And then you moved to the Carolina Opry. But so I just didn't think I had a shot. I was kind of intimidated. But as God would have it, a pastor that was in our area back then planned to do an outdoor concert, outdoor like festival thing after church, a whole Sunday afternoon of music and food and fellowship. And so Kristi had been asked to come and sing. I had been asked to come and sing. And there were several other groups, probably a Southern Gospel group. I don't even remember what all, but it was
I don't remember anything but seeing you there.
Oh,
I'm just saying.
how sweet you are. So we were out there, and Kristi had done her part. I did my part, and as we're getting later in the afternoon, other groups were singing, and the pastor came to us, Pastor Jeff, and he says, "Russell, do you think you and Kristi could get up and maybe like lead everybody in a couple of songs together, just some sing along, just some like hymns or choruses or whatever?" And we're standing there looking at each other. That's the first time we'd seen each other since I had been a freshman in high school, and we don't know. So we run in the church. We're going through a hymn book, trying to find a couple things that we could put together. And we did. And how amazing that God was giving us a glimpse of what our life would be like, several years later. So that day, I was kind of, like I said, I was kind of starstruck, and I didn't think I had a chance, but I had these little business cards made up, and we've got one on our refrigerator in there, just as a little keepsake, but I had these little business cards made up because people were asking me to come and do stuff for their youth group or to sing at their church, and so I had that business card, and all I needed to do was just say, if you ever, music stuff or whatever, give me a call. And I gave her that business card. It was a hope and a prayer, right? But it worked, right?
Yes,
it
it
worked. She was leaving the next day to go to Nashville to learn the Alabama theater show. And I just thought it was my one shot. And so I gave it to her. Well, a few months go by, and I got a phone call.
I called him.
But she did. She called me. And the amazing thing is, back then we didn't have cell phones like this. I mean, we had, you might have had the Zach.
iPhone.
You might have had the Zach phone from Saved by the Bell that was this big, with a big antenna, or a bag phone in your car. But we didn't walk around with phones like that. So I actually had one of those little answering machines. It had the little micro cassette tape in it, and I had one of those in my room. And anyway, Kristi called me, but she left a message, but she didn't leave her phone number. And so I was like, oh man. So as God would weave things together, not long after that, I was asked to sing at a local associational meeting of churches in our area. And when I got there, the guy who was putting it all together says, "Oh, Russell, didn't you go to high school with Kristi? Well, that's her sister playing the piano, and that's her dad. He does the music here at the church." And I was like, okay. So I went and I met her dad, and I went to Janine, her sister, and I just said, because Janine was with you at the concert
Janine
that day,
was there.
right?
Yeah.
And so I said to her, "Please tell Kristi, that when she called, that she didn't leave her number, and I'd love to call her back." And I was hoping that Janine was just going to give me the phone number. That would have been a big help. But as an older protective sister, she just says, "I'll let her know." And so there you go.
She did.
And she did tell you. And then what happened?
Well, my next time I had off, I was like, okay, it happened to be the 22nd of October, 1993.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I should call Russell. Maybe we could go out then. And so I did call him, and I did get him.
I answered. Yeah.
Yes, he answered. And he said yes.
She asked me out, and I said yes. I mean, it was a dream come true moment. And so we went out October 22nd, 1993, as she just said. And things went really well. Exactly 1 year later, we got married. I do want to tell one of our funny stories now.
Okay.
It's when I asked you to marry me. Do
Yes.
you want to share that, or you
No,
want me?
I want you to.
Okay. So.
No, I guess I can.
So I had gone, and I knew I was going to ask her to marry me. I just knew it. This was in March of 1994. I had gone and I talked to her mom. I went and talked to her dad. Her dad wanted me to give him my testimony of how I came to know Jesus, and we sat and had a long talk. And once I got the thumbs up from Mr. Freddie and Miss Susie, I went and got the ring, and I'd worked it out where Miss Susie was going to come with me to pick you up from the show. Miss Susie drove your car home so you could go with me. We drove down to Surfside Beach, which is just south of Myrtle Beach. And the funny thing, this is on our first date. We'd actually gone there and gone for a walk on the beach. So we went back to that same spot, and we're going to go for a walk. And my plan was to ask her to marry me on the beach. Well, we're out there only a few minutes, and it starts to rain. And so she's like, "Oh, we got to go. So we're like walking over the steps, the dunes, beach access there. I'm like, "Wait a second." And so I dropped down on my knee, and I'm asking her to marry me right there. And as I'm putting the ring on her finger, what'd you say?
I said, wrong finger.
I'm like, oh. And so I changed fingers, and then she goes, "No.
Wrong hand.
Wrong." I was so nervous.
Put it on the wrong hand.
I had a right hand. I was trying to put the ring on her right. Anyway. I got it right. She said yes.
Yes.
And then we got married in October 1994. Couple of other funny things along the way. What's some more of the funny stuff along the way? We wrote a few down today, but
down here.
so I think one of the funny things was, Kristi marrying a younger guy. I think she did that so she could train me the way she wanted me. And it's true. I mean, things like how you put the toilet paper in the toilet paper, holder. I found out that's an important thing to know which is proper. I'm just happy if it's there. But Kristi is very pleased when it comes over the top, not under, but come over the top and the front. That's the way she wants it. So that was one of the things you taught me early on. Mm-hmm. And I don't get that wrong anymore.
And putting the seat lid.
Oh, in the seat, yeah. Another funny thing is that we found out that we were diametrically different when it came to temperature. So the thermostat in the house, I'm always hot, and she was always cold. It'd be August, and if the car had seat warmers, they were turned on. I don't get it. I will say, though, that later on when you were pregnant and it evened out. And now, now we're a lot closer in temperature. But early on, I was always sweating,
cold.
And she was always cold. Mm-hmm. So another funny one. After we got married, she was singing at the Carolina Opry, and our great friends, Kim Perry and Jimmy, her late husband, Jimmy Williams, the four of us decided to go. When we were working at the Carolina Opry, you only had just short little windows of time that you were off because you were doing shows 6 nights a week for 99% of the year. And so we had planned on our time off in January that we were going to go up to New York City. Kim had a friend that lived in New York City, so we went and stayed with her, and we, did the sightseeing stuff, went to a show, and then we were going to drive up to Hunter Mountain, New York, and we were going to go snow skiing. I had grown up with our youth group, like going snow skiing every once in a while, and my family, we'd been snow skiing. Kristi had never been snow skiing before. And I'll never forget, she had gotten this awesome yellow ski suit, all right? Top to bottom, canary yellow. Look like Tweety Bird.
It was given to me by somebody at the opera.
That's right. Mm-hmm. And so she'd never skied before. We're up there, and so Kim and Jimmy, they would ski all the time. So they were pros. I had skied a good bit, but Kristi had never skied. So we're up there. It's a bunny little slope. It's not a big slope, and Kim had been coaching you up, and you take off. And at first she starts doing her little S turns,
like she told me.
Like Kim had told her, and then all of a sudden she just starts going straight and straight and faster and faster and faster. And I'll never forget, Jimmy looked at me and said, "Russell, she's completely out of control." And so I take off going just as fast as I can, trying to get down to the hill. And the thing was, it was unseasonably warm in New York for January, and so they had been making snow. So there was a point where the snow's going to run out and there's dead grass, okay? And she is making a beeline for that dead grass. And so I'm trying to get there. And thankfully, thank you, Lord, that she got within just about 6 feet of the grass, and she stops. And she's like this.
I know, crying.
And I zoom up beside her, and I stop. And she just doesn't move. She just continues to stay right there with her little ski poles, and she's shaking this banana yellow suit she's got on. And and on top of that, I'll never forget.
What?
We hadn't been married long. We didn't have any money, and we're on this trip. And so all four of us, me, Kristi, Kim, and Jimmy, we all shared one hotel room.
Oh, goodness.
And Jimmy passed away a few years back. But Jimmy snored a lot. And Kristi she just doesn't know how to function with loud snoring. And
you want me to tell this? Or you can?
No, you go ahead. So Kristi cannot sleep because Jimmy's snoring in the bed.
Oh, my goodness. It was like, I can't do it, but it was so loud. And so I go over to him and go, while he's sleeping, you're snoring a lot. Oh, I'm sorry. And he turns over, starts again.
Yeah. So I think Kristi was ready to even go down, but I don't think there were any more rooms in the place where we were staying, and we didn't have the money to do that. And so, did you go lay in the shower?
I went and laid in the bathtub. hey, it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do what you need to do.
So
Yeah.
fast forward a few years, and God had kind of called us into full-time ministry together, and we're beginning our travels, and just zigzagging and going everywhere. And I'll never forget. I always drive. I always drive when we're going on these long trips, unless I'm sick or just really feel bad.
That's
I
only
drive, and part of that's because I get a little car sick, and I always have since I was a little kid. So being able to drive helps me not be that way. But we were driving. We had to leave late. We were going to be flying out of Raleigh, North Carolina, out to I believe we were going to New Mexico
Yeah, we
for
were.
a youth
That's right.
conference. And so, but we were driving from Myrtle Beach to Raleigh, and then we're flying from Raleigh out to Albuquerque or Santa Fe, and it was. I let Kristi drive a little bit, and so I fell asleep. She's driving, and it's late. I mean, it's like it's like 1:30 in the morning, and I wake up, and we're not that far from Raleigh, and we're trying to. I'm like, Kristi, we got to get gas. I mean, like it looks like it's on fumes. Did you know what I mean? And so we ended up like getting off thinking that there was an exit with a gas station, and it's like just country road, and we can't find a gas station. All of a sudden, our little Nissan ran out of gas. It's 1:30 in the morning on some 2-lane country road in North Carolina, and we're just stranded. And this is before you had cell phones like we have now. And so like, what are we gonna do? And so we're trying to flag somebody down, which is probably not a smart thing to do. But eventually a policeman stops and we get gas. And anyway, it's funny now. It wasn't funny that night. It wasn't funny at all. But any other funny stories you can think of?
I'm sure once finished with it, I'll go, oh man, yeah.
I know.
But I
I
can't
know.
right now.
Well, the cool thing is every step of the way. I mean, God has a sense of humor, and it's just funny as we think back on some of these things. And you become parents, and got funny stories about our kids, and we're going to talk more about them in a few moments. But let's transition a little bit now, and let's talk about some of the challenges that we faced over the past 26, 27 years. What comes to your mind?
Oh, you start.
It's so funny. She always wants me to talk, but if her sister or her mom's over here, she has no problem talking. Well, that's true. I can think of a few, but you sure you don't
Go
want to
ahead,
start?
please.
Okay, so I'll start. I'm thinking of the challenges of back in 1999 when we did step out in faith and left, our paycheck of the Carolina Opry and went full time. Just trusting that, how we're going to make it, without, a weekly or monthly income, and it's just wherever God leads. And I remember our very first event we did when we left the Opry was going out to Wyoming, and we did that youth event. But every step of the way, we've just seen God be faithful. Even, when we've gone through even seasons like we're going through right now with COVID and our calendar being wrecked. But other challenges, I know, back in about 2005 or 4, when your dad was diagnosed with what they thought was Alzheimer's, and eventually we realized it was a Lewy body dementia, and having to walk through that season with you and your sisters, and that was a real hard time for us as well.
Yep.
And he passed away in 2010.
Yeah, almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
December 29th.
Yeah. That was a hard few years there of transitioning from him being able to do all the things that he would do, and little bit by little bit, you and your sisters having to step in, and we all helped. And
yes.
Yeah. I think we've been through our own challenges too. When kids were born, just trying to figure out how to parent.
I know.
When Will was born, you're super protective, and by the time Sydney comes around, we're just bouncing her off the wall. And I'm kidding, but you're trying to figure out how to parent, and you don't really know how to do it, and you're trusting that you're doing the right thing. You pray about every decision you make, and
and just our family has stepped in. Goodness.
Yeah, I mean, we've
still to this day.
Yeah, we couldn't do what we do without the support of our family, and friends like Jody, who's back here doing sound tonight. Will's helping with the cameras. But it's amazing what, family and close friends can do for you.
That's the truth.
So, I know there's other challenges. What other challenges have we had? Your challenge is just putting up with me. She didn't say anything, did she? Yeah.
Not a challenge.
Hey, if you just tuned in
I'm
tonight,
blessed.
we are celebrating our 26th wedding anniversary tonight, and so we're doing a little bit of reminiscing. We've gone back and we've talked about some of the funny moments over our 26 years. Now we're kind of sharing a little bit about some of the challenges. In a moment, we're going to start talking about maybe some of the wow moments, some of the things that God has done that just, amazed us. So you want to move on to that?
Yes.
Yeah. I'll let you start.
Can I start with this?
You
one?
start with it. You want to.
Okay. Well, Russell has shared this before that the person really that made such an impact on him when he was growing up was Michael W. Smith, and loved his music and just truly, really loved what he did and what he does, continues to do to this day.
And I think I've said it. I think that's why I got started.
That's right.
Was
That's
because of
right.
his music. Yeah.
And we've been to his sister's house so many times, and Will and Sydney have been with us. But this particular time, we were at his sister's house, and we were able to go to his studio and go to his farm, and she was celebrating her birthday, and we got to be there with them as part of close friends and family.
Yeah.
It was really cool, and that stands out as a wow moment in my mind anyway, and I know yours.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah. I'll never forget that. I'll never forget meeting him for the first time like that. And when we were in the studio with him, he was recording a Christmas project.
That's
And to be able to stand there and just have one-on-one conversation with him, I was just like, I was in my mid-20s, probably. What do you think?
I think so.
Yeah. And it was just like that unreal moment that here you are standing talking to the person that you've kind of idolized. It was your hero, and I think the greatest thing is that to meet him and to even see what he continues to do, just seeing that the person that you really looked up to was the real deal and is the real deal. And so we're just thankful for those moments. David and Kimberly, his sister and brother-in-law, have just been friends of ours for a long time, and they often had us be up there with them and kind of brought us into that circle. And that was a wow moment for me. Yeah, and for us. And
we actually get to see David at least.
Yeah, he's going to be.
month.
Yep, David is now one of the editors of Home Life magazine out of Nashville, and he's going to be at a conference that we're going to be at next month, as he's going to be one of the keynote speakers. So we're looking forward to catching up with him. And then I would say for me, one of the big things was speaking of people that you always looked up to, was when we were asked to go and do some stuff at the Billy Graham Training Center. And also, through FCA, we became friends with his granddaughters, and just to have had that 10 plus year relationship with his granddaughters, and then to be a part of some of the events that we've done at the Cove. Again, just somebody you looked up to, watching Billy Graham on TV, and then to be able to be there and be a part of things that are going on at that facility is just. That was a really big thing.
Oh, goodness. My daddy, oh my goodness,
Yeah.
loved Billy
If Billy Graham was on, the TV was
Yes,
on,
the
he was
TV
there
was
watching
on,
it. Yeah.
yes.
I would also say that for me, and you were part of this too, continuing to be able to do events for Lifeway and now Ridgecrest has been sold. If you didn't know that, Ridgecrest Conference Center, we talked about that several times over the past few months, but they did find a buyer for the Ridgecrest Conference Center, and it's called the Ridgecrest Foundation. The great thing is they want to carry on the legacy and the mission that has always been Ridgecrest, and so we're thankful for that. But to have been a part of events there really almost every year since I was in middle school, but in our married life, I mean, we've been there almost every year to do some sort of event, and sometimes multiple events a year. That's just been a wow thing. I love it how God opened doors that we had nothing to do with it.
Truly.
And that's always an amazing thing. Just like with Michael W. Smith or the the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association or any of those things. I would say too, some of the trips we've been on. I mean, what do you think? I mean,
I want to speak
go
about
ahead.
South Korea. We went to South Korea, and it was 2012, I think it was. But that started when a guy reached out
Via email.
Email. Alan Hester.
Yeah.
And he just asked us about coming over to South Korea. He was a missionary in South Korea at this international school
In Seoul. Yeah.
in Seoul, South Korea.
Yep.
And we're like, how did you find us?
Yeah. He just searched online. He searched on the internet and found us and said, hey, would you guys come? And at first we get this email. It was almost like, hey, I'm so-and-so from Africa, and I've got millions of dollars, and if you'll do this. And, now Alan didn't have millions of dollars. He didn't say that. But it was just out of the blue to have somebody from South Korea emailing you saying, would you come and do this? We were like, is this legit? We started looking him up on Facebook and
he's from
stuff.
South Carolina.
He's from South Carolina. We got all these friends in common who are also in ministry, and so we ended up having like a Zoom call with him and getting to know him a little bit and interviewed with him, and then we got the amazing opportunity to go over there and spend 9 days and to just pour into some teenagers at that school. And these were teenagers from all around the world, and just to see God work in their life, that was really the first time that we had done like a big, international mission kind of thing. Well, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, and that segues into the next one. We were in the Dominican Republic with an organization called Nations of Coaches, and we absolutely love Tommy and Heather Kyle and the ministry that they have there with Nations of Coaches. And we went to the Dominican Republic with a group of college basketball coaches and their spouses. And so we were doing a marriage retreat for these coaches and their spouses, but then we were also going out into some of the villages and the neighboring areas of the Dominican and taking them food and sharing the gospel and the coaches would do basketball clinics. And so to be a part of just pouring into those students and those families that we saw, and also to be able to pour into those coaches and their spouses.
That's right.
They have such a rigorous schedule throughout the year. It can put a lot of pressure on their families. So for us to be able to be there to pour into their marriages was a big deal. And that's something that's really come out of, our years of marriage, is just wanting to be an encouragement to other marriages and families. And that's been a big part, and it is a big part of our ministry. I think of other places. I just think it's really cool that God brought us together with the passions that we had and just the path He's had us on. And it hasn't always been straight, and we've often made our own little detours, but how He's guided us through all that. And I would say one of the biggest wow moments, are our kids, Will and Sydney. And
thankful.
Just so thankful for the gift that they are, the gift that they've always been, and especially now as they're, Will's 19 and Sydney's 14, but just the people that they're becoming, the people that God is making them. He's made them for a purpose, and to see them beginning to blossom and become who God's created them to be is just probably one of the biggest wow moments of our adult life. I mean, outside of us getting, accepting Christ and getting married, I mean, that's those kids are just amazing. And we're thankful that they're serving and sharing the hope that they have in Christ with people and the opportunities they have. So, wow.
I know.
Wow. And here we are. 27 years later since we went on that first date, and we're just thankful for friends like you, and we're thankful for the path that God has put us on. And we have a scripture that we're going to share tonight, because you know what? A long time ago, when I was 17 years old and felt like God was leading me into ministry, I had a plan or an idea of what I thought it was going to be like, but really and truly, all I really wanted to do was I wanted to be seeking God and doing what He called me to do. Whatever it was, just having this desire just to do whatever it is God wanted me to do. And if music's a part of that, I was like, yes, that's just the most awesome thing. But you know what? Every step of the way, it hasn't always looked like I thought it would look, but it's been better every step of the way than what I thought it would be. And you've been such a big part of that. And I'm so grateful and thankful for that. Thankful for God bringing us together, to do this. So you want to share that scripture with us?
Yes. Matthew 6:33 and 34. But seek first His kingdom and His righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. each day has enough trouble of its own.
Absolutely. And so tonight we wanted to start by singing that song, The Blessing Over You. We wanted to share some of our journey with you as we celebrate tonight. But there's always going to be the funny moments. There's always going to be the challenges, and there's always going to be the wow moments. And so every step of the way, I think if we'll just keep our eyes fixed on Christ and seek first his kingdom, and God, what do you have for me? Knowing that he's going to be with us every step of the way, even when we fall down, he's there to pick us up if we put our faith and our trust in him. And so that's the main thing we want you to leave with tonight, is that there is hope in Christ and to seek him. And when we seek him and we follow him and we keep our eyes fixed on him, everything else kind of falls into place. And even if it's not the way we thought it was going to be, it's going to be even better because of what God's plan is for our life. He's the author and finisher of our faith. He is the one who holds us in his hand. He's written our days. He knows. And he wants us to just stay connected to him. And so tonight we wanted to kind of close our time together by singing a song for you that we've shared in the past few weeks with you as well. It's the title of our new CD, Abandon, and it comes from Isaiah 6:8, which is very similar into what Kristi just read there in Matthew 6. To seek first his kingdom. But in Isaiah 6:8, Isaiah's had this encounter with the Lord. He's experienced God forgiving his sin. He's been purged of his sin by, that puts the coal in his mouth and it burns away the sin. And then he hears the voice of the Lord saying, who will go for us? Who will we send? And Isaiah is just overcome with what God has done and who he is. And he just says, Lord, here am I, send me, use me. And I know that's been our prayer and our hope through all these years. And we want more than ever to be right there and say, I'm here, send me, Lord. And so we want to sing this song for you tonight and just remind you to seek him, to follow him, and to keep your eyes fixed on him. And every step of the way, even when we fall, he's there to pick us up if we'll just stay focused on him. So live with abandon and keep your eyes on Christ. That's the message of this song. And we want to share it with you tonight. So here it is.
Lord, here I am. Come have your way. Lord, here I am to seek your face. And I hear you say, whom shall I say? Lord, here am I. My Lord, send me. I want to live with abandon and keep my eyes on you. Though the storms may come, your mercy's new. And with all I am and all I'm not, I will walk, I'll fall, but you're with me through it all. I want to live with abandon and keep my eyes on you. I want to live with abandon and keep my eyes on you. Lord, here I am. Come have your way in this place. Lord, here I am to seek your face. And I hear you say, oh, whom shall I send? Lord, here am I.
Lord, here
I want to live with abandon and keep my eyes on you. Though the storms may come, your mercy's new. And with all I am and all I'm not, I will walk, I'll fall, but you're with me through it all. I want to live with abandon and keep my eyes on you. Want to live with abandon and keep my eyes on you. Lord, here I am, come have your way. So our hope for you tonight is that you be blessed and that you would live with abandon, like we read in Isaiah, like we seek first God's kingdom in Matthew 6. And when we do that, we keep our eyes fixed on Him. Then we can trust and we can follow. And even if it doesn't look like we think it's supposed to look, it's going to be even better because it's His plan. And He knows a lot more than we do. He sees a lot more than we do. We are thankful for our 26 years of marriage, and we're thankful for friends and people like you who just would tune in and hopefully be encouraged tonight. Thank you so much for doing that. Remember that we're here every Thursday night at 8 o'clock. We're going to go and celebrate some more now, and we just hope you have a great week. Remember also, we share with you about Abandon. You can find our music anywhere that you find music online or listen to music online. And also, coming up real soon is Christmas, and here you go. This is our Love is Here Christmas CD, which we released back in November of last year. So it's still brand new, and we'd love for you to have that as you get ready and get prepared for your Christmas season. You can also find either one of these if you want a physical copy on our website, russellandchristi.com. Have a great week. We love you all. Be blessed. Keep your eyes fixed on Christ and live with abandon. We'll see you next week. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We hope that this episode has been both encouraging and uplifting for you. Remember that you can find us here on YouTube or Facebook Live every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Be sure to invite your friends as well. Share this with them so that they can also be encouraged. We want to tell you too that we really appreciate your encouragement and your support. Through our ministry, we are committed to making a difference in this world, and we want to see lives changed by the gospel, and we need your help in order to do that. RK Praise Ministries is a 501c3 organization, and if you help us, if you partner with us to make a difference in this world, your gifts are tax deductible. To find out more about how you can do that, visit our website, russellandchristi.com/partner. Until next week, we hope that you will live with abandon and keep your eyes on Christ. We love you all. We'll see you next week.